This film is from 2023 named Five Nights at Freddy's. The show starts with successful entertainment area called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, which has been closed for many years. There we see a scared security guard trying to escape something. He manages to remove the vent to an air duct and tries to flee, but sadly he is soon caught and knocked unconscious. When the guard wakes up, he finds himself trapped in a chair with some sharp blades approaching his face, and he is finally killed in a horrendous manner. In the next scene, we're introduced to a man whose little sister, Abby Mike, works as a security guard at a shopping mall. His day at work goes on as usual that day until he sees a little boy violently being taken by a man. He thinks that a kidnapping is about to take place, so he chases the man and beats him up. However, the situation turns for the worse when Mike is called by his job counselor, Steve. Following the incident, he later sees that the man is actually the boy's father and not a kidnapper. Due to this event, Mike is fired from his job quickly. Steve also informs him that due to his track record, his job options are going to be extremely limited. The job counselor then offers him a job as a security guard at the place we saw at the beginning, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Mike is interested in this job, but when he learns that he will have to work the night shift, he refuses and leaves. The reason he refused the job is because he can't leave his little sister alone at night. As Mike gets home, he thanks Abby's nanny Max, and she leaves. From there, Mike then enters the little girl's room and sees the picture she's made of her friends. We learn that Abby is the kid who rarely plays with her friends because she has her own imagined friends in her room. In the next scene, Mike goes to his room and takes a sleeping pill to fall asleep. After a while, he dreams about himself as a child having a lunch with his family in the woods. His mother tells him to keep an eye on his little brother Garrett, but when he turns around, he sees Garrett being taken and hauled away in the back seat of a car. This frightens him so much that he snaps out of his dream. The next day, Mike attends a meeting with his distant aunt named Jane and her lawyer. It turns out that she wants to take care of Abby after what happened at the mall. However, her true goal is to get government funding for Abby's care. After Jane leaves, the caseworker talks with Mike. She recommends Mike to find work as soon as possible to keep care of Abby. If he doesn't, Jane may win the case and take the girl away from him. Hearing this, Mike gets worried, so he reluctantly calls Steve and accepts the guard job at Freddy's that evening. He leaves Abby with Max on his way for his first night of work. Steve tells him a little backstory about the place. He tells that the place was very popular with kids in the 1980s and has been shut down for years, but the owner refuses to let it go yet. Now, the owner keeps a single guard on duty to ensure that no one vandalizes the place. The electricity is a bit iffy inside the pizzeria, but the security system is fully working, and there's a breaker in the main office. His job is pretty easy. Just keep his eyes on the cameras and keep people out inside the security room. He discovers a videotape with his name in the security room. The video meets him and informs him about the past of the place, showing family fun, including cutting-edge robotic technology. Suddenly, the video cuts off, and Mike is frightened by scary dolls that can move on their own with this innovative technology. After a few hours, he decides to take a nap despite being told to keep guard for the entire night. In his dream, Mike sees Garrett being taken again. However, this time he's surrounded by 5 strange children who are staring at him. Mike asks who they are, but the children run away from him, and he trips over a rock and wakes up from his dream. The following morning, Mike returns home and thanks Max for taking care of Abby. He says that he will pay her soon, but she tells him that there is no rush. Later on, Max and her brother Jeff arrive at a coffee shop where they meet Aunt Jane. It turns out the two are plotting with the evil aunt to gather evidence against Mike, but Max reveals that she has not been able to find any dirt on Mike as he has been kind to Abby so far. In answer, Jeff comes up with an evil plan. He suggests that they break into Freddy's and destroy the place so that Mike will be fired again. This will finally make him lose custody of Abby, and naturally Jane loves the idea, so she gives them the green light. That night, Mike goes back to work and falls asleep with the help of pills. Soon he has another dream about Garrett being taken and notices the same strange kids. He asks who took Garrett and wants to know who they are, and the kids run away. He finally holds one of them, but the boy scrapes him on the arm with a pirate hook. This leads Mike to jolt awake from his dream, and he quickly realizes that the protection system is a mess, so he resets everything. He then hears someone buzzing at the door and goes to open it. There, he meets a local police officer named Vanessa. She notices the cut on his hand, and our guy is completely surprised to learn that the injury from his dream has passed to his real life. After this, Vanessa helps to treat his hurt. She says that she used to often visit this place as a child. She tells Mike that the security guards hired for this place never last, and she jokes that he'll be quitting soon. To add, the reason this place was closed was because several kids went missing there, and the ADC leads Mike to the recreation room and turns on the power you've seen in your entire music life. Several animatronics come to life and start playing the following morning after Mike and Vanessa leave. Jeff and his friends take the chance to break. Inside, they begin destroying the place and take anything they want from it. While this is going on, one of the men is distracted by a moving fridge in the kitchen. But then all of a sudden, one of the animatronics, Shaka, comes out of nowhere with a small robot, aka Mr. Cupcake, in his hand, attacks him to death. The other guy, who sees the terrifying scene, runs into a small room right before he is also attacked to death by another doll, Bonnie. They beat them up badly and kill them one by one, while Jeff can see both toys on the security camera. As he makes an attempt to leave the security room, he is challenged by Foxy, and he ends up being killed as well. Meanwhile, Max is waiting for her brother and his friends, but when they don't show up for too long, she decides to go inside there. Chet notices a boy who asks her to follow him. Max obliges, and the strange kid leads her to a room where she discovers Freddy. But as soon as she reaches it, the mysterious being comes to life in the next scene. Abby discovers court papers at her house and realizes that Aunt Jane is trying to take custody of her. This enrages her, and she states that she is not going anywhere just then. Their doorbell rings, and it turns out to be Vanessa. She tells Mike of the break and saying that it is his fault. She also brings out a bottle of sleeping pills that she found at the place when asked why he takes them. Mike begins telling her the story of her little brother Garrett, who was taken on a family vacation many years ago. His parents died not long after leaving him to care for Abby. Now he's pushing himself to dream about the tragic day, trying to remember any hint that could lead him to the kidnapper. He says that his dreams are more vivid when he sleeps at the pizzeria. Hearing this, Vanessa feels bad for him, and she throws away the pills, asking him to be better from now on. That evening, Mike tries to reach Max to have her watch Abby, but she doesn't respond, having no other choice. He takes the little girl to his workplace. He's upset after seeing how messed up the place is after the break-in, and then he puts Abby to sleep in the security office. After that, he begins cleaning up the mess. He goes room by room until the entire place is back to its normal state. Later on, he goes back to the office where he finally nods off to sleep. In his dreams, he faces a blonde boy and asks if he and his friends disappeared in the 1980s. When Mike asks who stole his family, the boy points to a rabbit drawing they made on the ground. Moments later, Mike wakes from his dream to the sound of Abby screaming. He rushes to the entertainment room and notices the animatronics encircle his sister. However, it turns out that they are only tickling her jokingly, and Abby says that these tools are her friends. They are Freddy, Shakabani, Foxy, and Mr. Cupcake. But Mike is terrified by the sight, thinking how these robots can move on their own. He tells his little sister to leave quickly, and before leaving, Abby hugs the machines and gives them her drawing. Later at home, Mike looks at Abby's drawings and learns that she has been drawing those 5 kids from his dreams who seem to have disappeared at the restaurant. He wonders if the animatronics, aka her friends, are ghosts, which Abby confirms. He also sees the drawing of Garrett being taken away in the kidnapper's car. This shocks him to the core, as Abby wasn't born at that time, and she doesn't even know who Garrett is. Abby says that the blonde boy told her, and all those kids talk about is a yellow rabbit. At this point, Mike realizes that the little girl may be the key to understanding the kidnapping mystery, so he decides to take her there again. When the two arrive at the cafe, we discover Vanessa already there, staring at the yellow rabbit drawing. She tells Mike that she knew the animatronics were possessed by the lost children. At the same time, the animatronics come to life and begin playing. They all build a huge fort and have fun together. Sometime later, Mike and Vanessa go to a make room for some tools when Mike notices another robotic doll and is interested in it. Luckily, Vanessa is nearby to tell him not to touch the robot because of this. Seeing this, Mike is curious as to why Vanessa knows so much about this place and feels she is hiding something, but she becomes furious and urges him not to look into the past any further. As they get into the main hall, they notice Bonnie has a power issue, and Abby is shocked by his guitar. Although the girl is fine, she is knocked unaware for a moment when Mike asks Vanessa what she's scared of. She tells him not to bring Abby back here. The following evening, Mike decides to return to the pizzeria to find out about his brother's kidnapper, so he asks Aunt Jane to watch after his sister, which irks Abby very much. Regardless, Mike goes to work and takes a lot of sleeping pills. This time he has a different dream in which his family, including Garrett, is enjoying lunch together. Suddenly, the blonde boy appears and tells Mike he is giving him what he wanted, but Mike wants to know the kidnapper, not this. The boy says they can give him Garrett. Mike can have this dream of being with his whole family every night, but in exchange for Abby, Mike's family also tries to convince him, claiming that Abby will be happy with them and that they love her in a vulnerable moment. Mike agrees to the deal, but then he remembers his bond with his sister and changes his mind. This enrages the kids, who begin beating him aggressively soon after Mike awakens and discovers he is bound in a chair and a machine is trying to smash him. He somehow manages to break free and switches off the machine, but he is shocked to see Jeff Max and the others dead. Bodies in the room. Mike tries to run, but all of a sudden Foxy shows up from behind and attacks him on the other hand. Abby spends the whole day in her bedroom while Jane is watching TV, and we notice that Freddy has also gotten there. The blonde boy then approaches Abby and says that her aunt is sleeping, so he invites her to play with them. Abby excitedly agrees, so they board a taxi and head toward the restaurant. Meanwhile, we learn that Aunt Jane has actually been killed by Freddy. In the next scene, Mike regains consciousness and notices Vanessa, who tells him that they are in a police outpost and that she has saved his life. Mike tells her about his dream, in which the kids ask for Abby in exchange for Garrett hearing. This Vanessa finally decides to tell the truth. She reveals that the kids want to make Abby like them and turn her into an animatronic, she says, when those kids went missing in the ADS. The cops searched Freddy's from top to bottom, but never found them. It turns out that the smart kidnapper hid the kids inside the animatronics to add the kids don't want to hurt anyone. It's the thief who influences them. Somehow it turns out that the kidnapper is a man named William Aton, Vanessa's father. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza was built by him, who used a yellow bunny outfit to grab and kill children. He was the same guy who kidnapped Garrett as well. Hearing this, Mike becomes furious and asks how they can stop the animatronics. Vanessa claims that they cannot be stopped, although they can be immobilized if shocked with a taser, so she gives him some electric guns. Mike asks her to come with him, but she tearfully refuses, saying she can't face her father. Following this, Mike sneaks into the restaurant through an outlet vent and sees Shike escorting Abby to a back room. Desperate, he rushes towards the tools and electrocutes two of the music monsters. Meanwhile, Shika and Mr. Cupcake try to load Abby into a machine right before Mike gets to enter the back room. Mike quickly interrupts and tasers them, while Abby breaks out of the suit just in time to avoid being crushed by the spring lock system. The brothers then hug each other, and Mike promises that he will never give up on her. As they prepare to leave, Mr. Cupcake bites Mike on his leg, and the two begin fighting while Abby is hiding from Foxy. It is at this point that Freddy reappears, and Mike tries to electrocute him to no end, and he attacks Mike right away. He tells Mike that he was the one who killed his little brother, and now he will kill him as well. In the meantime, as Foxy is about to take Abby, Vanessa intervenes and tasers her. She then rushes toward Mike, who is about to be killed, and faces Freddy, calling him father. Hearing this, Freddy removes his mask, and he shockingly turns out to be Mike's job agent, Steve. It is revealed that after this place shut down, William changed his name to Steve and continued his suggestive work. Vanessa begs her father to stop his killing spree. William walks up to his daughter and stabs her. Meanwhile, Mike begs Abby to remind the animatronics of William's true nature. He says that this is the only way to end this madness. The brave little girl obliges, draws an image which she quickly places among all the images, showing the image to all the machines. The picture shows William in his yellow bunny suit, brutally killing all the children. Seeing this, the animatronic monsters finally regain their memory back. They turn on William. Mr. Cupcake bites off part of the suit, releasing its internal spring locks devices, which fatally wound William. After this, the animatronics drag him to a room and leave him to die. At the same time, Mike and Abby help and hurt Vanessa out of the restaurant. A few days later, we see that Mike and Abby are doing good in their lives. The little girl seems to be thriving, as she is making a lot of friends at school. One day they go to the hospital to see Vanessa. She is in a coma. The doctors are sure that she will make it later. At home, Abby feels because her friends must be a low. She asks if they can go back to that place, and Mike says that maybe someday they will. In the end scene, we see that William is still living at Freddy's. Although confined in the bunny suit, he begs for help. The ghost kids, the blonde boy shuts the door on him.